Hello there, stamping friends. It's Jackie Ballheis from Clompin' Stampers. Today my video might be a little bit different than what you're used to from me. We're not going to make a whole card. I have a ton of show and tell and a ton of tips to share with you today. I'm using two of my favorite new products. Well, they're new, couple months now, and they are part of the online exclusive offering from Stampin' Up. It's a little bit different. You can only find these online, but I am having so much fun with both the Radiating Stitches die, so I have a ton of tips for you, and then these rhinos. You just gotta love them. So I have four different cards, and I'm going to actually assemble a fifth one, so you'll get lots of tips for using these products. You ready to get started? Let's dive in. We're going to flip the camera around. Hang on. Before we get into making our cute cards using the Rhino stamp set, I want to share with you these Radiating Stitches dies. They're different, they're unique, and they make such a great layer or frame for on your cards. Now, there is a heart, a circle, and a small circle and a big circle, but I'm not really using those. What I have fallen in love with are these three. Now, each one will cut out a layer. So we can do 3 different size layers, or we can use them to create frames. Now, what I want to show you here with this one, you can see I just used this die. So this would make a great layer on a card. Look at how nicely that fits on there, and then do whatever you want on it. Now, the other thing you can do is use them together. So in this case, I cut out with the big one, and then I took the medium-sized one and I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine again. Now, some people will actually run these through all at once like this, but I think it's a little bit hard to crank it through. So I like to cut that, and then I'll put that on there. And now I have a frame I can use, depending on what I'm doing. I can't wait to do this with like some pretty designer series paper, or, the ideas are endless. Or we can go ahead and we can actually layer these together. And you're going to see this in a couple of the cards I made. I did this. You can pop one up, pop the other, or you could even mix and match, and we could go, something like that. So this is where I said the ideas are totally endless. We could, gosh, what can we do here? We can go this way. We could put this inside of it. And then I did cut out the smallest one, and we could layer something like that. Or I used the medium size and the smallest size, and I cut out a small frame. So that could be on there, or we could layer that on top of there. We could add, nope, that one won't fit in there. Oh, I don't have a white one. But you can see what I'm getting at here. We're with these 3 different dies, you can put them together and make layers or frames super easy. And they have this really fun edge on them. And we're going to use these, I think, on almost all the cards I have to share with you using the Rhino stamp set. So let me set these aside. And now I'm going to give you a few different tips for using this stamp set, and we'll put together a card, and then I'll show you some other ones. It is stinking cute. It's so funny. I laugh every time I say that. It's kind of a term that I think Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, or maybe card makers in general, have used over the years. Just stinking cute. How else can you explain these guys? Now, all of the cards that I have to share with you, I did color them with the Stampin' Blends. So I want to give you a few tips with Stampin' Blends. You're going to want to make sure you're using that Memento ink, and that you're also stamping on the basic white cardstock. Basic white, very vanilla, the thick or the regular, but they are really designed to work together and work really nice with those Stampin' Blends. Now, I've got gray granite here. Remember, your Stampin' Blends do come in a set with light and dark. I always have to turn them to find. So there's light and there's dark. And you can really color whatever works for you. There is the more bullet end and the brush end. And again, light and dark. Now, some people prefer to start with dark, while others prefer to start with light. It really is that personal preference. I'm a start with light kind of person, and I like to go one section at a time. Okay, you can see here I'm doing his body. Okay, we're going to fill that in. Now, I also tend to use that bullet tip more than the brush tip. Sometimes bigger areas, I'll come in with that brush. Again, you have to play and figure out what works for you. And then after I've laid down that light, I will come back in with my dark and I'll add like some highlights. See how I'm kind of going where Stampin' Up's already done some highlighting. Okay, I like to spin my card a lot too. But over here, we'll do a little highlighting there. We'll kind of get down in there, maybe a little bit under his little face there. And then after I've put that dark, I will come back with my light and just blend those colors in. And you'll see, you kind of have some lines going, but as this dries, because it's an alcohol-based marker, these colors just blend together really nice. And you don't get all those brush lines that you do with your water-based markers. So we're going to just color, and you can keep layering and layering. So if you think, we want a little bit more dark over on this side of him, we can add a little bit more dark over there. And then come back with that light and blend it out, and it'll just blend in nice, and you can see that nice shading. And then I also put several layers of the dark down on his little toenails here, just to make them stand out. Now, once it dries, I went back and I did it again, and I did it several times to just get it nice and dark. Okay, with your blends also, make sure when you're putting your tops on, you hear that pop. I take them, I push them on the table, then you know they are sealed on there really, really good. Now, I'm not going to color the whole thing. I actually pre-colored some. What I did is I stamped a whole sheet, and then I just sat down and colored. And I had so much fun coloring these little guys. But there's also another Stampin' Blend that is called the Color Lifter. And what this is designed for, and I don't know if you can see, but I barely went out of the lines, but I did a little bit here on the edges. So I can come in with the Color Lifter, and it will lift that color away, so when you look later, it won't look like I went out of the lines. Okay, now it's not, if you go drastically out of the lines, it's not going to necessarily lift all that color 100% away, but it'll lighten it enough for those little boo-boos is what I like to use it for. So that's the Color Lifter. Okay, I think that was your quick tip on Stampin' Blends. So let's go ahead and put together a card using Rhino Ready. Now, the coordinating dies with the Rhino stamp set does come with these great trees. Okay, so there's a larger tree and a smaller tree. And then you can see these are the pieces that are going to go on top for the greenery on the tree, our leaves. And then they also, there's the big one, and I think I have, oh, here's a small one. They have two different pieces that work to put our ground. So, you know, he's not floating in the air. We want him standing on something. And then several fun sayings, as well as these great little leaves. You can see there's the small leaf, the big leaf, and let's see, this little greenery guy. And then it also cuts out all the images that you can stamp in color. So great, lots of fun playing with the dies in the stamp set. So for the card that we're going to put together here, I used those dies and I made myself a frame, and we're going to actually do white on white with this. I played around with this and I really liked the look of it. So we're going to go ahead and let's start with a tree. We're going to add a tree, and this is how I first started creating when I got this stamp set. I cut out a bunch of pieces, I stamped and colored and cut out a bunch of the rhinos, and then I just started assembling all of my cards, which is what I'm going to do for you today. I have 4 others to share, but this one will assemble on the video. So for our tree, we're just going to stick this down. Now I want to make sure it's up high enough, but not too high, because we want to be able to put our leaves up on the top of it. So for these, we're going to use dimensionals because we want it to pop out. Oops, let's stick that down there. Okay, and then we can go ahead and add that to the top. Remember, there's a big tree and a small tree. So that's our large one. And then for this, what I want to do is we're going to use our rhino. We'll use that one. There's 3 different images. And I also stamped and I cut out a greeting. You're stronger than you think. Now for this one, we need to use the mini dimensionals because it's pretty thin. And we're going to add this before I add the rhino. So I hope that as you watch me assemble this card, it's one of those cards that has a lot of different pieces. And I know sometimes you struggle Well, how do I put it together? So I started with the tree because I want to make sure it's up high enough. Then we're going to put this greeting down here because we want to make sure that there's enough room for it. If I put the rhino on first, I might not leave enough room. So I kind of did the top, and now we're going to do the bottom, and now our little guy's going to fit perfectly right there. But I want to add a little bit of greenery or grass. So let's take one of these and we'll stick it right along the bottom there. And there's a larger grass and a smaller grass. And we're going to go, let's see. I set it down and then I want to just make sure, yeah, that looks good. Because I don't want it touching my words. But again, I wanted to make sure we have enough room to put our rhino. So we'll go back to our regular dimensionals. Oh, he's turning out so cute. I can't wait to show you the other cards I made as well because they are all adorable. Now, as always, every video of mine does have a link down in the description to take you to a blog post. And over there, I'll have pictures of all 5 cards for you, as well as the complete list of supplies that I use. So if you want to make these cards, you'll be able to as well. What do you think? Is he getting cute? Now, I have a piece of cardstock here that matches, the blends I use. So we've got gray granite. And I could put this on just like that, and it's super cute as is. Or we could do that, and that's super cute as well. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to put all the white on there. And what I'll do is we're going to glue this one down. Okay, whoops, I got dimensionals on me. Gotta be a little careful because we got all those little cut marks. So don't want too much. People have asked me, like with this adhesive, or they've wondered why their card warps. It's because you put too much on. It does not take a lot. And one of the reasons I really like it, oops, see, I can move it, I can slide it, get it right where I want it on my card. So we'll put that on. And then this piece, I want to go ahead and use dimensional. So we'll pop this part of it up. Okay. And we'll pick those off. And we're going to put that right where that opening is. But by putting those dimensionals, it pops it up. And it gives it just a little bit of dimension. So there's our card. You're stronger than you think. Is it cute? You guys like the rhinos? You want to see a couple more? So here's another one, and you can see here I didn't use the outside frame of the white, but I used that same inside piece and kind of pieced it together, very similar. These are stamped and then cut out with dies. And then you can see I stuck some of those leaves in it just to give it a little bit more greenery on the background. So we have that one. Now, with all of these, I pretty much use all the same products. I just designed them different, laid them out different. Like I said, this is where when I started playing, I cut out a bunch, I stamped a bunch, cut them out, and then I just started assembling. So this one I did just like we did there, but we turned it the other way. You can see we've got 2 pieces of the grass and then the 2 different sized trees on there. So we've got both of them on that one. And then this might be my favorite. You can see where I used, and this one, it's not cut out as a frame, okay? This piece is the solid, and then I just popped up on top of it the white layer there. And then I also used the dies and the other stamps to make my birthday rhino, and then just stuck a bunch of the leaves and this little greenery piece underneath him. So there's that one. And then for the 5th one, that kind of bent on me. I didn't use the dies, but I did emboss with one of the new basic embossing folders, which is part of that online exclusive products as well. And I thought I'd just keep this one really simple with just a lot of texture going, and then the cute little rhino and the bird. So there you go. 5, I think, stinking cute cards made with the Rhino Ready stamp set. Now down in the video description, okay, you will find the link to the blog post, and I'll have pictures of all of these over there. So if you'd like to copy them, they're super simple. It's just a lot of cutting and putting together. And I'll also have the link of all the products I use, including all the different colors of Stampin Blends, cardstock, and so forth, and then the different stamps and products that I use. So I hope you enjoyed these products. I hope you learned a few tips, and that if this is a stamp set you like, that you go over to the online store and grab it, because it really is stinking cute. We'll be stamping again real soon. Have a stamp happy day.